All right. So now, welcome back to the end-to-end program summary class week 1. I would really like to know how did it go for the first week? What kind of challenges you have faced? What kind of, if you have any questions or any doubts with respect to the videos that you have gone through, if there's anything that I can help you with. I will anyway go through the summary of it, all of it, but I just want to know what you feel about the videos that you have gone through. Daniel, you can start now.
Okay, well, let's say it was very challenging because I really didn't have a lot of Java programming background.
Perfect.
A long time ago I started, but those videos that you shared with us, those 4 videos, were really a good detailed lesson.
Perfect.
So, well, I had some, I completed the assignments. I had some little doubts because I didn't really arrive at some. I had
no problem. I will go through all the assignments
Perfect.
and the summary class again. Perfect.
Great.
So, Siobhan,
great.
what do you think? What do you think? How are you feeling with the videos?
Yeah, I thought they were good. I did them kind of over a couple of days, and I think I kind of like got a lot of the concepts, but I think I need to practice more on actually, you know, doing more. I did some of the assignments, but I didn't get some of the answers like straight away. And
no problem.
Yeah.
No problem.
So I think I just need a lot of practice, but I do kind of, I got the concepts.
So first thing is that we have the Slack channel. I have mentioned that earlier. Whenever you have a doubt, you can just directly reach me out. I think a couple of guys you already did. And right now there's a lockdown in Ireland, so I'm working from home. So it is easier for me to immediately look into it. And I just can jump into your issues and I can help you out there. I'm continuously monitoring the Slack channel there. So just let me know how things are. Perfect. So anyway, I will go through the summary for today. So yeah, Joan, what do you think? How are you getting on?
I thought the videos were very good. I thought they were very, very detailed. The thing is, I know Java already, and I have to say that if I didn't know it, I probably would have struggled a bit because there was really a lot of information in them. You know, getting into loops and everything. The first week, but I think they're very, very detailed, and I thought that they went into even more detail than, say, when I was at college, like, which was really good for me because I learned the background to some of the things that I've been typing and not really fully understanding. So I thought they're really, really good. Yeah, but it was challenging.
So Java is the foundation of the automation testing, right? You need to start your automation career with one particular language, and then you can build on top of it. So the foundation that you are getting from this training is going to go there with you for a long time. So you can easily switch from Java to another language, but once you are good at one language, then things are going to be much, much easier. Perfect. So I will not waste any more time. I will just straight away go to the slide deck and we'll get started with the class. All right, so what is the agenda for today, right? So we want to basically go through, we'll run through the topics that we covered in week 1. We'll go through it once again, all of it. Any doubts you have, we can immediately clear it right on the call with me. Secondly, we will discuss about the assignments. All the assignments that I've given, I have created the solutions already. So I'm going to just go through the solutions. I'm going to showcase how basically I have used the topics that you have learned in week 1 to solve these solutions, ideally, right? So I'll go through that. I will try to help you to understand how to basically understand the problem and, you know, go around it, okay? We will solve a HackerRank problem today, okay? It's a very, intriguing, it's a very unique problem that is something to do with arrays, and I will go through it once. so that you can understand. So we will every weekend, we will solve one HackerRank problem. The main idea behind this is basically to, to help you understand the concept a little bit better. I want you guys to train your mind to think about a particular problem from a different angle, right? And then we will talk about the topics for this week, week 2, right? So I'm just going to actually shut this down, and let me just pull up my stuff from the previous class. Just a minute. Okay, week 1. Oh, no, this is not that. Where is it? Class 2. Okay. I think I will get started with this particular slide deck, which is basically starting from class 2. It is more or less to do with the Java starting, ideally. So, okay. So we will basically quickly understand, okay, Eclipse layout, we have already seen that. Main function is basically a starting point for any Java program. I have already shown that to you. Without a main program, you cannot start any Java program. There are other ways though, but main is the first program from where your Java gets kicked in. So that's the first thing that you should be understanding. Second thing is basically I'm just trying to talk about a package here. In this package, what do? We basically segregate our project into different, we just give a folder structure to our project so that we can group our common classes, or we can group our classes into one single folder. So that is basically called as a Java package. How can we create a Java package? It's very simple. I'll just quickly go down to my Eclipse. And what we will do is I'm going to create a new folder or new project for week 1, and we will get started with that. So week 1 summary, right? And that's it. In this, let me close others. Okay. So in this, we have obviously a source folder. In the source folder, we are supposed to keep all our source code. So I'm just going to create a package on my own. So I'll just say new package, as simple as that. And in that package, the convention for creating a package is package names are always starting with a lowercase. It's always a lowercase, right? So I'm just going to say Java test, okay? Java test dot say math. Okay, so when I say Java test dot math, there's a dot operator. When I actually say that between the package names, what am I doing? I'm doing nothing but creating a math package, which is a sub package of the Java test package. And I go for a finish. And now if I see right now from the look, you will not exactly understand what is going on there, because it just says Java test.math. But ideally, you have created a class. So I'll just say test math, and then say main method. And if I just say that, so you will see that I have just created a math class under the math package, which is under Java test package, right? If I want to create a class under Java test package, not Java test.math, then what do? I just go in here again. I say class, and then instead of the package name choosing it for Java test.math, I will just say Java test, and that's it. And then I will say Java test, right, with a main method. Perfect. Now you see it got splitted up in 2 sections, because one is Java test, inside which you have the Java test class, and another one is Java test.math, where you have test math class. So basically you are splitting up your package depending on what is your requirement. So basically packages are there so that you can have a proper folder structure defined for your project. Perfect. So that is the requirement what we have in for package. All right. So I'm just going to go back again to where I was in my here. Okay. So that's the package stuff. Let's move on to the next one. Variables and constants. Variables, what are variables? Variables is a memory block in which you can keep on adding or changing the value. So you can think of variable as a block in the Java virtual machine. A block is defined depending on what type of variable you're creating. If it's an int, it has a bit different size. If it's a float, it is a different size. If it's a double, it's a different size. Depending on the data type, the size will be allocated for that particular variable, and the variable will be called or will be accessed by the name of the variable, and the value is basically the value that you fill in to the variable, right? And when I say it's a variable, it means I can keep on changing the value of that particular data or particular variable. That's why it's called variable. Constants, on the other hand, can be created using the final keyword. Okay, you say final, and then you say the data type, again the same thing, data type and the name and the value. With the final keyword, what you're doing is you're saying that the variable or the value of a double or the value of pi will never change. So if you know that a particular information you don't want to keep on changing like you will do for a variable, that's where you will go for constant, and you can do that by having a final keyword as a prefix. In the same way you are declaring a variable, you will do the same thing, just add a prefix as a final keyword, and that's it. It becomes your constant. If you try to change the value of the constant, it will immediately throw you with an exception. So let's try to do that, which will give us some understanding. So I'm just going to go into the Java test, and I will just say, I'm saying final int, say num equals, say 34. Perfect. And I don't have any problem to definitely go ahead and access the value. So I'll say nums. There is no problem in doing that. But now if I try to say nums equals something else, say 56. If I try to do that, so you see, just during the compile time, this is the compile time. It is not even running. Your code is not even running because I'm not even started the execution of the code. This is right now in the compile time. It's going to give me an error, and the error is clearly says final local variable nums cannot be assigned because it's a final, as simple as that. So this is a compile. So your errors will basically come in two forms. One is the compile time, and runtime. What do I mean by that? I mean, when you are just creating your program, Eclipse will compile it by itself because there is a Java C command that runs in the background for Eclipse, which will try to compile your code. And if it feels that's not right, it will immediately let you know, like we saw here in line number 10. And then at runtime, so some of the errors are not caught by Eclipse during compile time. So then what you have, the option is when it runs, that's where you basically see that you have done a mistake. So for example, I'll just make this as normal variable. And what I will do is I will try to divide 56 by 0. Sorry. Okay. We'll try to divide 56 by 0, and we will try to print out the value. Which is nums. Perfect. That's what we want to do. And if I want to do that, and if I run this, is happening with my Eclipse. Okay, run as Java application. And if I say that, I will get an exception immediately by when it got executed. So the error didn't come when it was compiled. I mean, Eclipse didn't know this is a problem. So it's a compile time error was not caught by Eclipse. But when I ran it, that's where I see arithmetic exception divided by 0. I cannot divide it by 0, a number, a whole number. That's an exception, right? So that's what is a compile time. Perfect. So let's move on to the next part, and then data types. I will not go more into it because I think you have already seen the video. So the data types are basically of two types, primitive and non-primitive. And primitive are integer, decimal, vector, boolean. So we just say double, char, boolean. Memory allocated will be changing, right? And then we have non-primitive type because we have string, integer, boolean. I'm saying string, integer, boolean because you can say that these data types are basically nothing but Java classes, and you need to basically use it as if it is a data type, but it is actually not. It is a Java class built in as a data type for you, so that you can add multiple characters together to form a string, right? Something like that. So that is basically a non-primitive data type, and this is a primitive data type. That's what we have. You can look at the videos. I will give you some time to ask me questions on all of these slides after the first class is covered, and then let me know if you have any questions. I will go into it in more details. All right. So this is the tree map of the data type that we have. Data type are basically into primitive, non-primitive. I just told you this in a minute back, so that's fine. Leave this. Okay, operators. Operators are arithmetic operators, relational operators, logical, prefix, postfix, assignment, and ternary operators. This is basically done. Arithmetic operators are basically used for performing any kind of arithmetical operation. Okay, so that's what you will use. Relational operator basically will let you check if the left-hand side is less than or greater than or equals to the right-hand side or not. Logical operators is basically to help you understand if two or more conditions are satisfied or not. That's what this particular value by 1 or more. That's a prefix operator, plus plus. I've given a very good understanding about prefix operator in the video, so you can go through that. Assignment operators are kind of similar thing. You can say equals to, which is you're assigning a value, plus equals to means you are incrementing the value by a certain number. So I will probably do that. So for example, I will just comment this out, and I will quickly say nums. Okay, so just see the difference. So nums plus plus, which is basically a post increment operator, and I will try to do a sysout on that. Okay, so I'll just say nums. That's one thing. And then second thing is I will try to also do nums plus equals 2. Okay, what does it mean? It means that I'm trying to add 2 to the value of nums and then assigning the value back again to the nums variable. Okay, that's what it means. So I'm incrementing the value of the nums by 2 and then assigning it back to the variable nums again. So I'm just going to copy this whole thing and paste it here. And if I just run this now, then you will see the results. So you see it was 34 over here. When I said num plus plus, it was 35. And then I said, I want to add extra 2 to it. So I said plus equals 2, and I got 37. As simple as that. So let's move on to the next thing. Okay. Okay, I don't know why my images are not getting loaded. This Canva sometimes reacts. Okay, let's see. Okay, yeah. No, it looks fine. Okay. So Okay. So then we have just spoken about arithmetic operators. These are normal division, multiplication. So this is very important, guys. The modulus operator. It's a percentile B. It's a modulus operator, which is nothing but going to get the remainder of the division. When you're dividing A by B, you want to get the remainder, and that's the modulus operator. It is very important for you. Sometimes it is required for you to use them. So that's that. This is the additional operator. I have already spoken about that. You're just checking the left-hand side is equals to or greater than equals to the right-hand side. Logical operator, basically you're checking two or more conditions by and, or, those kind of stuff. That's the logical operators. Prefix, postfix, I just spoke about that. Assignment operators, I also spoke about that. And then ternary operator. It's a very important stuff. It's a easier way to write a particular problem in ternary operator terms. So for example, look at this program here. It says A equals 5, B equals 6, and result is int. So if I want to use this without ternary operator, what option do I have? So for example, I have another variable. I'll say int nums2 equals 56. And then if I just say if nums equals to nums2, I'll do a int result because I have to store the variable value into something. So int result, so I'll say result equals, let me just say it as a Boolean, okay? So result equals true. I'll just say false here. So I'm just defining the result variable as false, the initial value, and then I'll say result equals true if it is true. If it is true, then I will say it is true. Okay, or maybe let's do it something like this. I will say if nums is less than equals to nums2, then result equals true, and then I will say print, or I will do one more thing here. I will say else, okay, result equals false, something like that, correct? So you see, I am writing almost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines for this if-else statement, okay? And if I want to print it, it will definitely give me a result out of it. Logically, there is no problem in executing this guy. So results, and if I just try to run this, there is no problem in getting the value out of it. Okay, what happened? Java test. Okay, so obviously there is no problem in getting the value out of it. If it is true, it is perfectly fine. However, I really don't want to write simple if, which can be done with just one if and one else. I can probably get this whole thing done as a part of a ternary operator. So what will I say? I will not even declare, I will comment this out. I will not even declare this guy here, okay? So I will just say directly here itself, I'll say Boolean result equals, so I'm checking for a condition. So what is the condition? I'm saying if nums less than nums2 less than equals to nums2, and if this condition satisfies, so the syntax is very simple. You say question mark. So you're saying that if this condition satisfies, then return true, colon false. You see that? How fancy it is to write in terms of the ternary operator. So I just said Boolean result nums less than 2, less than equals to nums2. If it is true, then you get the true. If it is false, you get the false, and that's pretty much about it, right? So, and then if I just run this now, I actually get the same result. So just a fancy way of writing it, just reducing the number of lines of code by using the ternary operator, and that's pretty much about it. Okay, perfect. So let's go to arrays. Very, very important thing to understand. We will deal with arrays and similar kind of elements that can contain more and more values in one place, and that is arrays or array list or collections, Java collections, right? So what is arrays? I think you have already seen the video, and arrays is nothing but a one single variable in which you are actually keeping multiple values together. So from JVM perspective, what happens is a very simple thing. So from JVM perspective, so there are various memory locations in the Java virtual machine, right? So it is basically using your whole RAM to play with the program that you're writing. So for example, you can say that these are different memory locations you have. I'm giving some number to it, okay? These are memory location, addresses, 235, 237, 238. You have to understand one thing, that these memory locations are obviously adjacent locations, right? They are all adjacent locations, which means they are next to each other, correct? Now, when I'm creating an array, I'm saying that let's go ahead and start filling up the value for these locations. So how do I do that? I just say very simply that int array num array equals, I can do it in 3 different ways, but I'll do the shortest one, which is with the curly brace in between. I'll say the numbers. So there are 5 locations, 23, 45, 56, 78, 90. These are all 5 different values, and I want them to be added into this particular array. I'm not really concerned, or I'm not really aware of what is the memory location of these values, but I know that these values are getting into the array in the adjacent field. So in the memory, this is what will happen, right? So 45, 56, 78, and 90, they're all going to get into the array in the same location, or not same location, but adjacent locations, and every one of them will also be accessed, with the index. So index 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So which means if I say that give me the value of this out, if I say give me the value of, say, num array of, say, 5 or 4, right? If I say that, then what will happen? It will just look for the 0, 1, 2, 3. This is 3. This is 4. So it will just look for the 4th guy over here, or the 4th index, which is the 90, and it will print me the value because they are all in the array, and you can access the value out of array using the indexes. So that's what I did, and I got the value as 90. Okay, so there are 3 different ways you can basically work out with array, or you can initialize an array. One is you can predefine the size of the array. So you can say int of array, int of square brace a equals int square brace 5, because by doing this, you're saying you are planning to create an array where the size of the array is 5, and then you can simply add the value into it. I have explained that in the video. You can also do it the other way around. You can say, okay, so here, this one and this one, the only difference is the location of the square bracket, you see? So here you say int square bracket a, and here you say int a square bracket, but they are actually doing the same thing. The third one is something that I like most. is basically you can just say int array, and you can just directly give the value here. I'm not even using this. I'm even using a shorter method. I'm just saying that int array num array, and just put all the values in the curly brace, and that's it. That should be your stuff then. Correct. That's the array, which is very, very important. The HackerRank problem that we will solve today will be on that. So let me check the time. All right, so we have some time. Let me quickly move on. Loops. There are 4 different type of loops that we will be using all the time. Not all of them, but we will definitely use for loop, while loop, and for each loop a lot. Do while loop is not that much, but for loop, while loop, and for each loop is required. The main mechanism of looping is very simple. You want to iterate a particular segment of your code multiple times, and that's what you want to do. That's your main purpose of using a loop. So for loop, while loop, and for each loop, right? But why you want to use it and where you want to use it, that depends on different situations. Okay, so if you remember in the video, I have clearly explained about a for loop. A for loop I will use if I know the starting point and the end point of my loop. So I know that my for loop starts from index number 0, and it goes till the num's length, less than num's length. So I know the range. If I know the range, I know that I can use a for loop to work it out. Okay, that's why I need a for loop. I've explained that very well in the video. Please, if you have any questions, let me know in now, or I can look into the video again. And then in the while loop here, you probably don't know that what is the length or what is the range you are trying to iterate, or how many times you want to iterate. You probably are looking for a condition. I've explained that in this case. So let me actually give a example over here. Just give me a second. Let me check something. Okay. So what I will do is I will quickly actually go back to my code, and I will try to work it out with the while loop, right? So I already have array here. Okay, I can write this while loop in different ways. So I will just say a variable. I'll create a variable here, right? Which is a Boolean variable. So I'll say Boolean status and equals to false. Okay. Look at this. I'm saying Boolean status equals to false. My while loop is not going to be running against any kind of range. No, it is going to run against a particular condition. As long as the condition is satisfying, the while loop will keep on iterating. I will also put a counter, int count equals 0, and then you see what happens. So I'll say while, look at this, while status equals false. I'm saying as long as the status is false, I want to keep on iterating. Okay, what I want to iterate, I want to basically pull out all the information out of this guy. Perfect. What do I do? First and foremost, I will say a print this out. Okay, no, I will say if count, okay, equals to the num array dot length. Okay. Guys, if you're not understanding anything, please shoot a question. Don't be shy. I'm here to answer all your questions, so please let me know if you're not understanding. So why did I say num length -1? Because I want my loop to start at 0th index, and it should go to the length minus 1 index, because if the length is 5 for the array, then the index will be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So the last index is basically the length minus 1. Last index is length minus 1. That's the last index, which is this guy. So I want to basically see if my count is equals to the last index, then I just want to make the status as true, which will break my loop, because my status is going to be changed to true, and this condition will not be satisfying anymore. So I will come out of the loop without any problem, right? So now what do? I just say that I want to access the variables, right? So what do? I mean, access the array, right? So what I'll do, I'll just say this out, and in here, what do? I'll just simply say that num ARR, and in here, I'll just give the count, okay? I just give the count, but I also have to make sure that this count that I am using here should be incremented. If I don't increment the count, I will not go from 0 to 1 or from 1 to 2. I will not go to the next index if I am not incrementing the count. So what I will do now is I will just simply say count plus plus, right? Which will increment my count 1 by 1 by 1, and then I will reach to a status where this condition will satisfy, which will in turn make this guy as true, and that should be it. Ideally, you know what? I should actually take this out from here, and I should put it here. Okay, because that should be the last statement, and that should be it. So let's run this and see if that works. So run as Java test, and we actually got all of it. 23, 45, yeah. No. It didn't print the 90. It didn't print the 90 because of one thing. Just 1 minute. I'll just replace the location of count plus plus. Let me run again. And that's it. 23, 45, 56, 78, 90. So look at this status now. So what did I do? I just simply said, if it is length minus 1, then make it as true. This condition will fail and the loop will break. Either you can go with that option or go for a break. How about that? Just write a break in here, which will break out your loop, and your program will still work because you're anyway breaking out of the loop. So this is what I was talking about. So while loop is not depending on any kind of range. It depends on what? It depends on a condition that is being evaluated at every iteration. That is what is while loop all about, right? Perfect. So that's that. Let's move on to the next one. And just go back. Okay, do while loop is the same stuff like while loop. The only difference in do while loop is you're making sure that at least one time your loop will definitely execute, because it starts with the do. The first thing that will be encountered is this section, which is the statement, which will be executing at least once, and then the condition will be evaluated. So this loop is required if you want to execute a value at least one time, but it's hardly used, you know. Anyway, that's do while loop. For each loop goes very well with any kind of collections, like we have it for arrays, so nums, and you see that what we say, int nums, and nums is the array, and you are basically accessing values out of this array one by one after every iteration. So you're not using any counter, nothing at all. The for each loop itself will do all the job for you. Just say int nums, and that's it. So it just picks up every value at every iteration, and then you can access it as it is. So the last one is VARARGS. VARARGS is nothing but the option for you to supply multiple variables or multiple values together into a method as a part of arguments. I would like to know if anybody is having any questions with respect to VARARGS. Any questions? Are you guys okay with that? Everybody understood it? VARARGS? Daniel? Any question with VARARGS? You're breaking, Daniel. You're breaking. Sorry. Sorry, I couldn't hear. I couldn't hear you. Can you go again, please? I'm not able to hear you. Anybody else wants to try, please? Shobhan, you want to try?
Yes. Just one thing. Yes.
Your voice is cracky.
Can you hear me?
No, I'm not. Your voice is cracky.
Would you be able to do just an example of a VARARG?
Perfect. I will do that. I will do that. Okay.
Thanks.
VARARGS is a very simple situation. Okay. It is basically. Okay. Let me go ahead and get the example done there. All right. So first and foremost, I will go to this class, test math class. Okay. I will do what? I will simply create a method. What is the method? Public static void get sum. Okay, that's the name of my method, get sum. Okay, this method get sum that I have created is going to accept an argument. What is the argument? The argument is nothing but int dot nums. So this is a way you are actually supplying n number of values inside a method as a attribute or as an argument, right? So this is an option using which you can supply n number of values as an argument. You have to always keep in mind that this argument should be the last argument in the method. So for example, you should have something like this: string name, comma, this guy. So this is my first argument, and this is my last argument. VARARGS should be the last argument param, right? It should be the last parameter in the method. For me, in this particular method, I really don't need two parameters, so I'm just going to remove the first one, but that is a rule. Okay, that's one thing. So get sum is what I am trying to trying to get the sum of all values, right? That's what I want to do. So what I'll do is I will simply, so this guy is nothing but, it's an array, okay? So I can simply use a for each loop to iterate over. Okay, somebody is trying to contact. Can I pass strings instead of numbers? Absolutely, Daniel. You can do anything. That will be a different requirement though. So here my requirement is to basically print the sum of all the values, right? So my requirement is different. Your requirement could be different, but you can definitely pass in. And also have to understand, VARARGS is going to be only one such argument in the method, which means you cannot have int nums, int nums 2. You cannot have that, because obviously this rule will not satisfy anymore then, right? So this will be definitely gone. So this is my nums variable or argument, and I want to basically simply get the sum of it. So I'll say int sum equals 0, and then I will do a for loop, for each loop rather. So I'll say nums int num colon nums. Why? Because I am iterating over an array using a for each loop. So that's that. And all I will do is a very simple thing. That is, I want to print. What am I doing exactly? What is the logic behind it? The logic is sum equals to sum plus nums. Okay. This is what sorry, not nums, but num. This is what I want to do. What exactly I'm trying to doing. So understand this logic very well. Let me try and open a paint. Okay. So the logic is very simple, right? So logic is that I have, say, for example, crap. Okay. I don't know what happens to Mac sometimes. Okay, hopefully. So what I'll do is I have, say, these numbers, so 12, 34, 56, 67, 89. So I have these values here. Let me actually make it big, okay? What am I doing? I'm looping around, right? This is my for loop. I am saying int num colon nums. That's what I'm doing, right? What does it mean? It means that at every iteration, each and every value, let me pick up, okay. So each and every value will be picked up from the array. So this is 12, that will be picked up for the iteration number 1, then 34, 56, 67, 89, okay? The logic is simple now, because I will say int sum equals 0, and I will say sum equals sum plus num. What does it mean? So look at the first time when the loop will just start. The sum will be 0 and the num will be 12. Make sense? And that value will go to sum. That value will be going to the variable sum, because 12 plus 0 is 12. That will go to sum. Iteration number 2. Iteration number 2. This guy will be 12 and this guy will be 34, right? So 12 plus 34, whatever the sum is, so 46, will go back to the variable sum. This will keep on happening for each and every iteration. So again, over here, so 46 plus 56 will be going back to sum. So this will keep on happening over and over again, until the entire loop is completed. Everybody give me a shout if you're understanding this concept. Yes or no? Good. Good. Perfect. Perfect. can we only pass primitive data type as a VARARGS, or you can pass non-primitive also? I think you can pass non-primitive as well. I have, you can, certainly you can. So for example, I will just say public, say static, say void get names, right? And here you say string dot 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 names, yeah, which is absolutely fine. You can go for anything, primitive, non-primitive. This is non-primitive, right? This will work, right? So that's the logic, very simple logic, and keep on adding everything. And once everything is added, what do I do? Let me try to make it happen in a different way. So I will say sysout. Sysout. I will just write it in a different way so that you can understand. So I'll just say sum equals plus sum, okay? And what is the initial value of sum? Okay, no, we have to, okay, let's do it in a different way. Sum, and just say plus num. That's it. Let's not make it super complicated. And then I'll just say sysout, and I will just say sum. So I'm obviously making this sysout after the loop is over, because the loop is there to give me the summation of all the values. So after the loop is over, that's where I go and say, give me the result. So that's what happened. So now what do? I just go ahead and I just start a print. And if I do that, oh, not this, sorry, this one. And if I do that, what, okay, I'm just running the wrong guy. This is Java test, oh, yeah, right. What just
You don't
happened?
have an array.
I,
There's no array.
No, it's on array and I didn't even call it.
Yeah.
So here I just go and I just have to say 12. So how do you give an array? You don't give an array in the usual way. You just keep on adding the values like 12, 34, 56, 67, 89, 90, something like that. You can keep on adding like this with a comma, and that's it. So let's run this again. And you see, that's what exactly happens. So you get the value 1138, which is the last one, and you see that every time the sum value got incremented, and that's how it just got the result in front of you, right? So that's how VARARGS work. Perfect. Let's move on to the next part, which is, okay, we have done that. This is my first or class 2 video. Any questions with class 2 video, guys? Just give me a shout if you have any questions. Narinder, Jason, Shaili, Kaushik, Apurv, Pavan, Pinakshi. Somebody joined with Oppo A9. I would really expect you to join with a laptop, and please change your name because I cannot call your name otherwise. So if you just can change your name, it's very easy to do it in the Zoom. Just right click against your name and rename it. It will really be helpful. So I'm expecting that everybody is okay with the class 2. And now what do? Is I am just going to go back to the class 3. So or you know what, I'll just quickly, yeah, let me actually do it from here itself because Canva is killing me. Class 3, class 3. Okay, this is class 3.
Kaushik, hello?
Yeah,
So
yeah, go on.
I have a question for you.
Yeah, go on.
Like in the first, like I did a division and the reminder we are getting a different, like I'm not getting exact like decimal points. How do we get, when you run a program, how do you get?
Because you are dividing an int with an int.
Yeah, and yeah, divided in. I put in a drive as well, so you can see that. I couldn't get the exact point or decimals in that. Hello?
I think we've lost Savik. I think the internet was.
Is it? Yeah.
So I suppose, Narendra, you're coming on the screen, so now you have to teach us.
Oh, is it? No, definitely no.
Joan, you've been made the host.
Okay, so
You can teach us.
I suppose he'll be coming back in a few minutes. Is everybody from Dublin?
Yes.
No, I'm from Italy.
No.
As in like living in Dublin?
Hi, yeah. Can you please wait for a while? Savik is connecting. Please send me a message. Thank you.
Sorry, Pawan, we didn't hear you.
Yeah, can you please wait for a while? Savik is connecting back.
Oh, okay, okay.
Thank you.
So can I ask, so you were saying if you want to find an average of numbers, right?
Yeah, yeah.
There's no numbers behind the, it's an int number. It's not a decimal number, right?
Yeah. I did one, like I tried with division and other things. I couldn't get that exact number.
I have the same problem. Yeah, we can ask. You're right. Good.
Yeah, I mean, I was stuck there, so I thought.
Do you reckon he'll go through all of the assignments? He might cover that, hopefully.
Oh, is it? Okay. Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah, I think he said he's going to go through them all, so I think that will come up.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Stuff.
Just the division thing, I think like if you, in integer has no decimal points after, but if you want to get it, you have to make float or double.
Yeah, that's the thing I want to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did that.
Yeah, it's like, I need help.
Sorry, so out. I don't know what happened. I was thrown out of Zoom. Anyways, I'm back. So just let me check. Okay, so recording is still on. That's perfect. All right. So yeah, anything you guys were discussing when I was out?
We were discussing the decimal points.
Right. Perfect. So the point is that, Narendra, you are dividing integer with another integer,
yeah,
and the result will never come in a decimal format. You have to divide a decimal with another decimal. That's where you get the value as a decimal format.
Oh,
You get me?
yes.
So which means that, for example, if I am going back in here, and if I just try to simply divide, say, int num equals 10 or 5, and I will just say that sysout 5 by 2. Simple thing, right? And if I just go ahead and run this again, I get the value as 2. It's not coming in a decimal format. Why? Because it's an integer, and you're dividing it with an integer, so it will not result you back with with the right value. So what you do is you basically go ahead and you say, looking for a double num 5.0, right? And let's run this now. And okay, I have to divide it with obviously int again, double num 2.0. So okay, my bad. What am I doing?
You're still just printing.
Yeah, that's why. So, and you get the value as 2.5, right? Because you are dividing a decimal with an integer. That is fine, correct?
Yes.
But you cannot divide an integer with an integer and expect a decimal value to be coming out for you, correct?
No.
So that's that.
No.
Perfect. So now what do I do is, no problem, thank you. So then we will actually then get started with class 3 and we'll see what do we have. Okay, very, very important stuff to basically start with is class, okay? What is a class? I have already explained this. What is a class? Class is nothing but, you can say, you are trying to group something under a class. For example, you're trying to group cars. You're trying to group cars with a different brand name, different model, different engine size, capacity, sitting capacity, and you are trying to group them under a class. And the class is basically a car. Car is the class, and you're creating multiple objects out of it. You're creating a class, and you're creating multiple objects out of it, and that is basically your objects that are coming out of the class car, right? So how to create a class is very simple. Public class car, that's how you create a car. How do you create? So in the car class, you see I have simply added different attributes to the car class. These are the attributes. So a car will obviously have, like a human, we have certain attributes. We have a name, we have an age, we have some kind of an occupation, we have some kind of a location. These are my attributes as a human being. Similarly, for a car, I have certain attributes: brand, model, engine size, seating capacity. These are my attributes of a car. So I'm just listing them down in the car class as variables. And then what do? I'm saying properties. So there is one thing called as attribute. In terms of class, I'm saying that we have attributes or properties. So in the attribute, we are giving these information, like a car will have a brand, will have a model, engine size, and sitting capacity, and then the property, like brand name, is a property, print brand name. So a car is doing something, or maybe a car is starting. Start is a property. Starting a car is a property of the car, right? The car is accelerating. It is a property of the car. The car is decelerating, is a property of the car. So one is attribute, the other one is a property. And we create properties and we create attributes using what? Using variables and using methods. So we have variables, which are brand, model, engine, and sitting capacity. These are basically variables, or from class perspective, they are attributes. And properties are nothing but the methods. So print brand name, start engine, stop engine. These are the properties of a car, which can be defined using methods. Everybody understand this concept with car? Yes, no? Or classes? Everybody is getting it? Daniel, are you getting it?
Yes, thanks.
Good, good.
Yes. Yeah.
Perfect, perfect. Shovan, you're good with that? Awesome, perfect. All right. Shaili, I didn't hear anything from you for a long time. Do you want to contribute anything? Yeah, are you okay?
Yes, I replied. I'm getting.
I'm not able to hear you well, sorry. I'm not able to hear you well. I'll take that as a yes for now. Okay. How do I create a, okay, I'm getting some, okay, fine, perfect, thank you. Thank you. Okay, so how do I create a class instance? Okay, how do I create a class instance? So we have created a car, which is basically my template. That's fine. That's my class. That's a template. How do I create actual different type of cars out of it? Okay, these are called instance or objects. So you see, I have created 3 different instances coming out of the car class, and they are having different name, different body, different you know, brand, different engine size. So that's how they are different from each other. So instance number 1, instance number 2, and 3. So one is Volkswagen, Aston Martin, and Suzuki. There are 3 different instances coming out of the class car. So they are entirely different. So what exactly happens is, in my paint, I can show to you that what is happening here is that you are basically creating a class. Okay, let me make this. So this is my car class. This is my car class, which is perfect. And then I am allowed to create n number of instances out of it. These instances, so car 1, car 1, car 2, car 3, car 4. So I can create 4 different instances out of the car class, right? These instances are entirely isolated and they have no connection between each other. You have to understand that all of them are basically residing in different location in the virtual memory. They have no connection to each other. They are entirely isolated, right? So car 1, car 2, car 3, car 4, there are 4 different instances that I've created coming out of one car class, correct? So is there any limitation to how many? No, there is no limitation, Kaushik. You can create n number of instances out of any object. There is no limitation as such. Okay. Instances are making a copy. No, it's not a copy. It is not a copy because each and every, so why they are instance? Because every one of them is having different state. My bad. Every one of them is having different state. When I say state, sorry. When I say state, my bad. It's a text I need. Okay. When I say state, it means that this guy is having a brand, which is Mercedes. This guy is having a brand, which is Audi. This guy is having a brand, which is Mazda. This guy is having a brand, which is Porsche. They are not copy. They are, you can say, you are basically creating a clone. It's not a copy, it's a clone coming out of the main blueprint, but that clone is going to have a different state from each other. So car 1, car 2, car 3, car 4, they are entirely different because they have all different values for each and every instance. So what exactly that means? It means that you're using one single template, which is your car. This is a template. Sorry, where is the paint? Really? Reopen. I hope that drawing stays there. No, perfect. So we have different instances. And they're all coming out of the car. So as I said, it is not a copy, it is a clone coming out of the actual object. So for example, what do I mean by that? So if I say I have a car, and the brand name is a variable, brand is a variable, and I'm giving the brand as a variable as nothing or empty. It's an empty, it's a string, and the variable is having a value which is empty. The engine, int or float engine is 0.0f. That's my engine, card brand and float engine. These are my initial value defined against the card template, right? So from this, then I can create instances of the car, which is car 1, and this guy will have a value which is brand equals Audi, and engine is, I don't know, 2.2. So you see, this guy is entirely different from this, because you can say this is a template, and using this template, I am allowed to create n number of clones which will have different values. The main motive to understand here is that we are using class as a template. We are using the cloning option to create n number of instances. And lastly, you have to understand that they are all residing in different locations. They are all, they have no connection to each other. That is the biggest thing that you should understand, right? So I'm getting some questions. Let me handle that. So I can have one car per brand. I have 2 cars with the brand. You can perfectly. The point is, Daniel, that this guy is entirely different than this guy. Even if you want to keep a same name to both of these objects, there is no clash, because they are in 2 different locations in the Java virtual machine. So there is no clash at all. You can have another one saying car 2. Sorry. You can have another one say car 2, and you can say that this is maybe brand is Audi, but maybe engine is 2.4. I don't know. So they're different. I want to show you something. So let me go back to my program, and in the Java test, I will create a class, and the class that I will create here is going to be students. Simple. It has no main method, just students class, simple class. And in this class, what I will do is I will simply go ahead and say string. I'm going to add my attributes. So attributes in form of variables, right? So what I'll do is int right? Sorry, not int, string name is, for now, I'll just set it to null, nothing at all, right? Nothing. Null means nothing at all, right? And then what? I'll say string location. Location equals null again. That's my blueprint. I just created a blueprint of students class. Perfect. Now what do? I am ready to test it. So I'll go students, test students. And with the main method, because I have to trigger the execution with the main method. Perfect. Now what do? I say students, say I'm going to give a name. So I'll say Juan equals new students, because that's how you create a clone or instance of the template. So Juan, well, Juan right now has nothing. So let me try to do it. So sysout, I'll say Juan dot name and sysout Juan dot location, right? So I'm going to just and obviously location, and that's it, is what I need to print. Let's run this and let's see what do I get out of it. I'm getting some error, nothing, no error. So run as Java application. What do I get, guys? I get the value as null for both of it. Why? Because obviously it is trying to access the values, initial values that are defined inside students template, right? Now what do? Now I will say Juan dot name equals Juan. Getting a question. Value was not set. That's why taking initial values. Exactly. That's right. That's right. So, and then what do? I say Juan dot location equals Ireland. Perfect. So I have these two information out of Juan. What I'll do now, I'll go ahead and repeat the same process one more time. And let's run this. And obviously what will happen is it will first get me null, and then it will get me the value Juan. Perfect. Now look at this. Students, right? I'll say Daniel, Dan, new students. Perfect. I created a Dan object, no problem at all. And I just go ahead, copy this piece, paste it here. I said Dan dot name, Dan dot location. You already saw that in the last section over here, I got the value as Juan, right? Now, if I'm trying to access these values, what should I get? Let's see. If I run this, why am I getting the Daniel information as a null and null again? Why? The reason for that is that it is again using this old template, the template which is the student's template. It is having some initial values. It is trying to, when you are creating an object of the class, obviously it is going to access its initial value, which is set to null, and it is trying to print those values for you. And then if I exactly do the same thing like I did for Joan, for Daniel, Dan Dan, this is Italy, right? If I do that, and then if I just simply try and print it, I get the value again, the right one for your name. So the point is that these, okay, now one more thing again. So all I'm trying to say here is that when I'm trying to access these attributes using a specific object, they are entirely in its own isolation. So let's look at this. If I call Joanne again, I will get the value for Joanne, not for Dan, right? Because I am accessing it using the Joanne's object or instance. So what I'm trying to say here is that they are absolutely different than each other. So now I want to show you something. So you asked me the question, Daniel, that what if I want to create a student which has same values? It's possible. Perfect. So let's do that. What I'll do is I'll create a Dan copy. Let's look at this. Students. So you have to understand that a value in the object is not making them isolated. What is making them isolated is the location of that object. So every location is different. Every object is residing in a different location. So I will prove that to you. So I'll say students, and I will say Dan copy. Okay, I said Dan copy. Just look at this. And then I said new students, right? And then what do? I say Dan copy dot name equals Dan, right? I'm giving the same values. Again, Dan copy dot location equals Italy. I'm giving the same name, same location. So does that mean that Dan and Dan copy are same? How can we prove that? We can prove that by simply using a sysout. In the sysout, I will just say Dan equal Dan copy. So what am I doing here? I'm comparing two objects. I'm comparing two objects that has same value, right? That has same value. So I'm comparing two objects that have same value. What is your guess? What should be the answer? Will it be a true or a false? They have same values. Anybody wants to try that?
That's gonna print 2 times, I guess. Day in Italy. My guess.
No. I'm not printing. I'm just trying to compare Dan object, Dan with Dan copy. I'm just trying to compare. This is a comparison operator, right? Equals operator. I'm comparing left hand side with the right hand side.
Oh, true or false? Okay.
It'll be the true or false. What do you think? What it should be?
Me, it's the same, so it's true.
It seems like true, but
everybody
it's not.
says false.
Yeah, but it's not. The reason for that is even if the values are looking same, but they are not same because they are in two different locations. Because even if the values in the objects are same, the objects are not same. So let me draw and show it to you. So what is the situation now? The situation is this. This is a very, very important thing to understand, and I don't mind that it's taking some time. Probably we will run a little late than 12 o'clock. I hope you guys don't mind. We'll go beyond 2 hours. So you have done. So this is, sorry, done. This is done copy. This is, name is Dan, location Italy. Same here. Dan, location Italy. Sorry, Italy. They are looking same. They have same values. But are they same? Not. Why? Because this guy is in a location 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and this guy is in a location. I'm just giving some random numbers. I don't know the location, different locations. So they are absolutely different. If I try to equate these two, then it's going to be resulting me false because they are not same. How I can make them same? How can I make Dan copy equals to Dan? How can I do that? I can do that if I say Dan equals or Dan copy equals Dan. If I say that, what will happen then? What will happen then is that it will be pointing Dan copy's location will be now the same location as of Dan's. Both of the objects will be residing under the same location. So this location will not be, this location of Dan copy will not be valid anymore. Rather, it will be actually pointing to 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you should ask me then, what will happen to the information that has been stored in this particular memory location? What is going to happen to this particular guy? What will happen to this particular guy is there is something called a garbage collector. Garbage collector in Java. So it looks for such objects that has no claim. Nobody's claiming it. It has a location and nobody's claiming it because right now Dan copy and Dan is basically pointing to the same location. So nobody's claiming the location that was registered for Dan copy. And then what it will do, garbage collector will kill that place or will clear that place or wipe out that place because they are both right now pointing to the primary object Dan. Is that making sense, Daniel? You're
Yes,
good with
yes,
it?
it
Any
does.
question?
Thanks, it does.
Perfect. Anybody else have any questions, please? Any questions, please? Narinder, Pinakshi, Apurv, Jason, Pavan, Mohammed. Anybody any questions, please? Give me a shout, please. This is a very, very important concept, guys. Do we invoke? No, it does automatically. Very good question, Apurv. Garbage collector is not invoked by Java. I mean, not invoked manually by the user, the programmer. Java automatically looks for such kind of objects that are such kind of locations that has no claim. Nobody's claiming that location, so Java will go and Java will clear it out automatically. So you don't have to really bother about garbage collector in runtime. In runtime. Good, good, perfect. So that's the situation then. So invoke automatically. That's right, Charlie. Yeah, that's right. And it will simply remove everything from the old space, right? So that is that. It's a very important concept about classes, which is why I took some time to explain, and I think we are good. How to access class members, I just showed you how to do that with the dot operator. You can do that. Understanding memory, this is where exactly I explained the whole concept. So you see, we have something called as a stack memory and a heap memory. In the stack memory, we are simply going to, in the heap memory, we are going to keep the objects one by one, and the garbage collector will clear out the unclaimed location. Garbage collection will do that for you. And in the stack memory, we are basically keeping all the methods, right? So there are two types of memories, stack and heap. Stack hold all the methods that are in execution, and heap stores the instance of the objects. So one by one, they are all in the different location. So heap will keep the track of all these objects, and that's how it works. And then what do we have? What are methods and usages? I have already spoken about methods. Methods are nothing but a simple block of code which you want to keep so that you don't want to write that piece of code over and over again. So method is basically, it supports do not repeat yourself. So suppose you want to add two numbers, you don't want to really keep on having a number or a program or a line of code that will keep on adding number. And whenever you have the similar situation of adding number, you want to simply use it over and over, or you want to rewrite it over and over again. You don't want to do that. What you want to do is you want to create a method, and you want to create a couple of statements in that method for adding two numbers, and then you want to call that method whenever you require it. By doing that, you are basically saving time, and you are also supporting do not repeat yourself rule. So once you need a method, you simply, once you have some option and you know that this particular piece of code can be reused over and over again, that's where you go ahead and create a method out of it and just simply call the method, in number of times. That's basically your methods are all about. So here you see it's not showing up properly, maybe because of my internet, but sorry. Yeah, I don't know why it's not showing up. Yeah, this is not showing up. Anyway, if I download it, it'll be fine. That's fine. So, okay. So I think that's the end of your third and fourth. This is the Selenium framework. I've tried to describe the Selenium architecture. I told you what is a WebDriver. I told you the WebDriver is nothing but a jar file, which is going to simply hold hundreds and thousands of classes together, and it will be compressed into a jar file. Jar is nothing but a Java archive, right? So it will be all compressed to a jar file, and that is basically your Selenium WebDriver jar that you want to add into your project. Once you're done with that, then you can simply use the jar file, or you can use the classes inside the jar file to write your program, right? So I have spoken about the JSON wire protocol. JSON wire protocol is a mechanism using which you want to, okay, so let me explain this one more time. So in the left-hand side, you see we have test. Okay, this is where you will write your Java test code. In the middle layer, you have WebDriver. Okay, what is WebDriver? WebDriver is a jar file that you want to add into your project. So how do you add a jar file to your project? I have shown that anyway, but I will do it right now. What I will do is I'll create a package here. New package. Selenium test. And then I will just say finish. And in this package, or in this project, week one summary project, I'm going to add a jar file. Where do I get the jar file from? I get the jar file from this location, which is selenium.dev. In selenium.dev, if I go down a little bit, sorry, in the documentation, downloads. The downloads, if I go, you will see the first option here called Selenium Server Grid. This is what you have to download. It's a jar file, normal jar file. Just give me 2 seconds for it to download. So once it's downloaded, then we will simply add this to our project. This jar file, if I simply expand it, you will see that jar file is nothing but compressed version of hundreds and thousands of classes. So I'll just say keep, and I will go back to my Eclipse, and I will simply import the jar file, new properties. Okay, properties. Go to Java build path, and then you have to look for the jar file. So you go to libraries tab here. Everything has been explained in the video. Look into it, or let me know later on. And then say add external jars. Click on this, and then go to your location where you have downloaded it. For me, it is downloads folder, and it is Selenium.
Sorry, Suvik, this wasn't in the classes this week. So video number 4 cut off at the stack and heap. So we didn't see
my
this.
bad.
Yeah.
My bad. Okay, fine. Anyways, you will see this later on then.
Yeah.
But for now, I'm just going to give a quick section to it. So I'm adding this jar file over here, and apply and close. So what I did is I downloaded a jar file out of Selenium official website, and I added that jar file into the project. By doing that, what is happening, you will see that there is a reference library section popped out in this project. And if I expand it, you will see this jar file is added. What is a jar file? Okay, if I expand this jar file, you will see, okay, in Mac, for some reason, it doesn't show up. That's weird. In Mac, it doesn't show up, guys. That's really weird. Ideally, if we do the same thing in Windows, and if you expand this particular jar file, you will see that it is basically containing thousands of packages like this, and every packages are having hundreds of class files. So basically what you're trying to do is somebody has created a project, and they have simply zipped it into a jar file or compressed it together into a jar file, and they're giving that project to you so that you can use this project in your own project. That's all you're doing. You're using a jar file. You're adding a jar file into your project so that you can use it. So this is basically the way you write the jar file, or you not write the jar file, but you are importing the jar file inside your project. Okay. So once you're done with that, what you do is you go ahead and you create a class in the package. And I will just say Selenium test. This video, you will see it in 5, 6, 7, obviously, but I'm giving a quick understanding. Selenium test. And in here, I will simply go ahead and say that I want to now create an object of WebDriver. WebDriver is a class that is coming out of the Selenium jar file. WebDriver is a class that is coming out of the Selenium jar file. So I will say, or maybe Chrome driver, not WebDriver, but Chrome driver. Chrome driver basically will help me to invoke the Chrome browser, and it will let me interact with the application. So Chrome driver Chrome equals to new Chrome driver. So you see what happens here is this class Chrome driver class, this class Chrome driver class is not something that is there as a part of my project week 1 summary. It's not there, right? So how am I getting it? I'm getting it because I have imported the Selenium jar file. I've imported the Selenium jar file. Yeah, Mohammed, you do WebDriver driver. We will talk about WebDriver driver, but for now, let's try to talk about Chrome driver because I want to go step by step. WebDriver driver is definitely the right syntax, but I want to talk about Chrome driver, and then I will go to WebDriver when the right time comes. Because why are you writing WebDriver driver? It's a concept behind interface. An interface, if I don't explain interface, then there is no point in explaining WebDriver driver. So like right now, I'll keep it Chrome driver. So Chrome driver is a class which is coming out of Chrome driver. What happened? Why am I not getting this guy? Chrome driver. Okay. Did it add properly? I think I've added properly. Properties. This is here. Yeah, that sounds good. Chrome driver. Chrome. What is this? It is weird. I think for some reason it is not able to reference it. But why? It is not able to reference this guy. Remove. No, you don't need to, Tom. You can directly add it. No problem at all. Add external jar. Either it's a problem with my Eclipse or the Selenium driver that I downloaded. Selenium jar. Let me check something. Standalone version. Yeah. I have this one. Open. And that's that. If I open this up, Java doc, library, apply and close. Okay. Yep. You see that? I was saying you, right? I don't know, something wrong with that particular jar file. So anyway, so look at this. So you see the Selenium server standalone jar that I downloaded, it has got hundreds and thousands of packages like the one that I created. So somebody has created this particular project with hundreds and thousands of packages, and every one of them, if you actually go in, you will see there are .class files. Basically the compiled version of your Java file, right? .class files. So that's how it is there. So you added it, and now if I just say Chrome driver, if I import it, so you will get the first statement to import it. Import means you're importing this particular, you're letting this class know that Chrome driver is a class which is a part of the reference library. So if I click on this, you will see the statement is now popping up in your screen saying org openqa selenium chrome driver. So this is the whole package inside which Chrome driver class is residing. So if I go in to my Chrome driver, sorry, if I go into this particular location, org openqa selenium chrome, let's go to that location. So look at this, org openqa selenium, okay, selenium chrome. You see that, this guy, org openqa selenium chrome, that's the package name. If I open that up, then there is a Chrome driver class, and because I have it there, that's the reason I'm able to import the Chrome driver in this current project or in the current class. So once I have this in place, then I can say driver.get, and I can then just give a simple URL. So amazon.co.uk, right? And if I try to run this, I will get an error. I will get an error because I have not set up something else as well, which is required. And I will stop the class or this discussion over here because I want you guys to see it and complete the complete that gap. So if I run this now, oh no, I will not get it here in the Mac. Sorry, my bad. But you will get the same thing in what do you call it, Windows, because in Windows you have to externally give the location of a driver, Chrome driver.exe. So I have explained this in the video, Chrome driver.exe. Okay, you have to set this, set the path in Windows. In Mac it is done in a different way, and I will show that to you later on. But in Windows you have to set this path Chrome driver exe, which you have to download and set it up. I have explained that in the video. Please take a look into it. I am getting some error here. No session created. It's a different error. We will handle this tomorrow or later on. That's fine. So that's the discussion of 1, 2, 3, 4. I would like to understand if you have any questions that you want me to handle before I can go to the assignments. I will take some time to go over the assignments, maybe 15 minutes or 20 minutes to go over the assignments. Then I will take another 15 minutes to complete the HackerRank problem. It's a very good problem that I want to complete. And lastly, I want to talk about the list of topics that you will be watching in the upcoming videos, right? Any questions with 2, 3, 4? Anything at all? Yes, no?
Well, I have just a doubt.
Go on.
I had a problem on how can I print the Java version? I didn't get that out.
Okay, Java version can be, but if I remember, I did it for you in the class, right? I mean, I called you before the class and I did that for you. Remember? No, Daniel?
No, but it's okay. We can do it even in another moment. It was just
okay,
my.
That's fine. After the class, let me talk to you about it.
Okay.
Okay, perfect. So I'm expecting that you guys are super clear with whatever I have covered in the first week. I'm expecting that you guys are absolutely okay with that.
Sorry, small question for you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that Eclipse, we have a 13 version updated last month, I think. And you on the video you are shown some 12th version, if I'm wrong.
That is fine. That will have no difference.
No
okay.
difference. Right. I mean,
no difference.
All right. Even in the same Java as well, there is a.
Yeah. There is no difference at all. You can use the same thing. There is no problem at all.
All
or
right.
you can use the latest one also. I mean, whatever is latest, you can use that. There will be no problem at all.
All right. Okay. Thanks.
Okay. Shaili, Joan, Shobhan, Vijayalakshmi, Pinakshi, Apurv, Jason, Mohammed. Everybody okay with it? Whatever I have covered so far in the first week? Yes, no? Okay. I will. So far, good. Apurv, are you feeling okay with what the explanation or any questions? No, right? Okay, good stuff. Thank you. Mohammed, good. Okay, all right, perfect. That's good. Jason, okay, perfect. That's good. Awesome, guys. Thank you. Now what I'll do is let me quickly go over the assignments. Okay. So we have already created the assignments. I'm going to upload this into our assignments. Okay, video. I will quickly also show you something that I want everybody to understand it very properly. Whoever is in the class, understand this very well. We have May 2020 class in the free session folder. I have listed down these 4 classes. Every one of them is having assignments. Not every one of them, but more or less. So you have assignments over here. You have assignments over here. Everywhere I have assignments related to that particular class. Yeah, Vijayalakshmi. That is one way, or you can just do it directly in the console itself. I think Daniel was talking about the second option. Yeah. So then what do I have is I have this assignments folder. In the assignments folder, so far, there are people who are right now creating the projects, and I want you guys to create your own folder and then upload your project depending on whichever week it is. So right now you're just saying it like this, and that's perfectly fine, okay? Or you can probably use it in form of a week 1, week 2, something like that. And we are looking into it, you know, week by week, these assignments, okay? I will also upload, or I will also give you the new list of YouTube links in here, 5, 6, 7. I will give it here, and you can watch it then from next week. And I will create another in the assignments folder. I will create a folder over here that is the solutions, or maybe, yeah, solutions for week 1, for week 2, something like that. So that's what I will upload my solutions here, okay? So let's look at the problems and go through it one by one. Don't save. Okay, so V2 assignment, video 2 assignment number 1. It is a very simple assignment. What did I do here? Implementing mathematical and concatenation operator. It's a very simple assignment. All am I trying to say is that I have two values, 18 and 17, 18 and 7, and I want to either do a addition, or I want to do a subtraction, multiplication, a divide, or a modulus. If I want to just print them all, you just have to just write it the way I did it here, and then just print them. So this is my string part. This is my string part, and I am simply appending a string with a number using the plus operator. That's it, right? I'm adding two parts. I can either add a number with a string, or I can add a string with the string using the concatenation operator. Okay, so that's what I'm doing. If I just run this, run as Java application, I get all my values printed like so, right? This is my division value. This is my remainder. Okay, this should be modulus. Okay, and that's my modulus value, remainder value, right? That's the first one. Okay, then the second one. Let's look at the second one. What's the second one? It says verify the number is odd or even. How can I verify a number is odd or even? I can verify a number is odd or even if the number is divisible by 2, then obviously the remainder for that number will be 0 if I divide it by 2, or if I use the function, or if I use the operator modulus by 2, then it will be 0. It's a very, very simple logic to understand. If it is divided by 2, then I can say that it is even number or an odd number. Right now, these assignments are very, very simple. Later on, we will keep on making it more and more, challenging. Okay, so version number 3. Okay, what is it? Convert a string to lowercase. How can I do it? Very simple. There is a method called to_lowercase as a part of strings. This is a string. Given string is good luck. I want to simply convert this whole string to lowercase. Okay, so I can say dot to lowercase. To lowercase function. Okay, let me just take this out. If I say dot, you see how many different type of internal method is already pre-built with Java. So you can see it says replace, it can say replace all, it can say substring, to lowercase, to uppercase, trim. Okay, there are different stuff to be done by using different methods. These are all inbuilt methods coming out of the string class. There's a string data type, right? Which is basically a class. So the string class, how do you know more about string? Okay, how do you know more about string? So go down to Google, just say string Java doc. Read them. If you don't spend time, I mean, not me, but nobody else can help you. Nobody else, right? So if you just go to string Java doc, Oracle docs, and you can see that in string, which is a class, which is we are using it as a data type, it has some inbuilt methods. What are these inbuilt methods? Sorry. Look at this method. So let me zoom. Look at this methods. So it has got these methods called here, char at, quote point at, quote point count. Maybe not all of them are required, but it's there. Concat, contains. So this method will say returns true if and only if this string contains a specific sequence of character values. You have to read them. You have to read them to understand. This is called as Java doc. Everything in this world is having a Java doc. Similarly, Selenium WebDriver, Java doc. It is highly essential for every one of us to read this Java doc so that you can get to understand what's happening, and why it's happening. So Java API doc, if I go in there, you will see that there is similar list of stuff included, okay? So you can see these are the methods: close, find element, get current URL. These are the methods that are there as a part of WebDriver, right? So this is what is you should be looking at. So anyways, let me go back to my program. So you see, I am using .2 lowercase, and this will convert my string, which is in uppercase, to lowercase. As simple as that. So if I run this, you see, the value is good luck, all in lowercase. What is the next one? The fourth one is simple. It says, get me the perimeter of a circle. Get me the perimeter of a circle. What does it mean? I want you to do some mathematical calculation using programming, as simple as that. So what I want here is that I'm given some input. I've given the radius as 7. I've given that the perimeter is supposed to be calculated with this formula. The formula is 2 into radius into math.pi. What is pi? Pi is a constant which is declared inside the math class. If I go inside pi, how do I go inside pi? You can hit Control in your keyboard and click on the mouse on this particular element. So it becomes a link. You see that? It's becoming a link. So you can say math.pi, and this will take you to this location where a constant value or a final value of the variable or the constant pi is already defined. 3.14. That's the value of pi. It's already there. So what I do is I simply go back to my, I'm getting some questions. Let me check that. That's fine, Shobhan, no problem at all. You can carry on. Thank you. Please look at the video, and yeah, I will release the video in a while. Look at the video because I'm going to cover the HackerRank problem. It is really good to understand that. So then what do I have is the math.pi, which is going to simply go over the calculation. So 2 into radius into math.pi. That's the formula of a perimeter of a circle. And that's what I'm trying to build here, okay? And the area is radius into radius. That means r square into math pi. That's the radius of the circle. So if I want to print them, I can print them as it is. Right? Okay, so that's that. What we have is the next one, which is look at the image which Pavan is talking about. Okay, this is what? This is the average of 3 numbers. Okay, I have 3 numbers. I have to divide all of them by 3. That's it. That's the average of 3 numbers. Simple as that. Okay, and you get the result. The next one is what? You have swapped 2 variables without third variable. You have to swap 2 variables without third variable. So which means first value is 12, second value is 98. After the operation, the first value will be 98 and the second value will be 12. How can I do it? It's very simple. what you can do is you can say, you can create. So what you did is you have used okay. I think this is wrong. Swap two variables, that's it. Because I'm using a swap val already. Right. So what am I doing is I'm creating a temporary variable called as swap val. Okay. So I'm saying swap val equals first val. So swap val is the temporary variable. I am simply saying the first val value will go to swap val, and then I will give the second val value to the first val, and the second val will have the swap val. So let's look at it in the breakpoint mode or in the debug mode. Let's look at this. Debug as Java application. So right now, when I'm running this, no. When I'm running this, you will see that in line number 12, just before the line number 12, the value of first val is 12. I'm just hovering my mouse on the variable. It gives me the value, runtime value. Second val is having 98 as the value, runtime value. And swap val is having the value as nothing. There is no value to it, nothing. So what I do is in the line number 12, if I just go one level down by using the option for next line, I'm in the next line now. So now the swap val is having the value called 12 because the value of first val is moved, is not moved, but it's copied to the variable swap val, right? And then what do? I say next again. And then it says first val is 98 because the second value, the second variable value is now copied into the first val. So that's what is 98 now. And the second value is going to have the value as 12, right? So I simply moved around my value from one variable to the other variable. So diagrammatically, if I want to show you, I have three variables. I have three variables, 1, 2, 3. I have three variables with the text. First one is 12, another one is 98, and this one is 0, right? So what I'll do, I will first simply move this 12 to here. The 12 value will be moved to the 0. So the swap val will have the value as 12. That's the first thing I will do. And then this guy value, I will move to this guy, right? So 98 value will be going to the 12 value. So now this guy will have the value as, so this guy will have the value as 98, right? And then what we will do, we will simply move this value to the second variable. So this is a prime, this is a number 1, this is a val, this is the second val, or 2 val 2, and this is the swap, right? I have three different variables. One is val, one is val 2, and this swap. So I'm just simply moving my values from here and there, and that's it. So this 12 goes to 98, 98 goes to, so sorry, the 12 goes to swap, 98 goes to 12, and then this 12 will go to this guy over here. So by end of the day, what will happen is that this guy will have the value as 98. This guy will have the value as 98. this guy will have the value as 12, and swap will have the value as 12 as well. But anyway, you just made the swap anyway. So that's how the temporary variable will be used. Okay, so that's that. What else we have? I'll stop this here. I have some questions maybe. Yeah, but in assignment without using third variable. Yes, it can be also done with using third variable. How was it without? Yeah, I will do it without third variable as well. It is nothing but you have to just subtract one minus another. It's very simple to do it. I can show that to you in a minute. Then we have the seventh one. The seventh one is check whether the Java is installed in your computer or not. This is what you have to do. Java runtime version, home, vendor, URL, and so on and so forth. I can just run this one more time here. And that gives me all the values. Yeah, Kaushik gave the result already. You see, x equals to x plus y and y equals to x minus y. X equals to x minus y. That is what you need to do, right? X equals to x plus y. First, you will add those two, okay? And then you have to minus y, and then x equals to x minus y to do the job, right? So I will show that to you in a minute as well. Okay, then we have the next one, which is, let me check something. Okay, then we have the next one, which is compare two numbers. It's a very simple thing. You're just comparing two numbers with equal operators, or less than, not equals, or greater than, less than equals to, greater than equals to. These are normal logical operator, that we have discussed here. Then we have compute the area of polygon. Again, another mathematical calculation. You have NS, which is basically 6. That means number of sides. And you have said the 4. What is the 4? Pavan, what is the 4 here? That's the side, right? And what is the NS? Pavan, are you there? Okay, we'll have to check this. Let me look at.
Sorry, can you please check that the bottom under that week 1 package, V2 assignment 9 picture clearly it is mentioned.
Okay, sorry, my bad. Yeah. Okay, sure, perfect here. Okay, so this is the area of a regular polygon. So S is length of side, N is number of sides, and area can be calculated using N into S by 4 tan pi by N. That's what you have to do, right? That's the area of the polygon, correct? So in here, if I go to this guy, line number 9, okay, what I did, I have N is 6, side is 4, and then I just simply multiplied them, and then 4 into math.tan. You're creating a tangent, tan math pi by ns. That's a simple calculation. The calculation is already there, or the formula is already there. I'm not expecting you to understand this formula right now, but yeah, it's good to know that. That's no problem in have understanding the formula. But this is what it is: number of sides, and then length of side by 4 into tan by pi by n. That is the polygon formula, and that is what we are trying to print here. Okay, you can find this formula everywhere in Google, and you can simply work it out with it. All right, so that's that. Let's do the first one of, yeah, this is basically how to verify the value exists in the given array. It's a very simple thing. This is an array. We can just simply say if this item is there, then you can say break or exists. It exists. If it is not there, you can say does not exist, as simple as that. And you can break out of it, right? This is a very simple arrays solution. In the next one, it is saying print the number between 1 to 100 in the reverse order, which is divisible by 9. Perfectly fine. So what I'm doing is I'm starting the loop from 100 to 0, and I'm doing a negative run. So I'll say I minus minus, right? Because I'm counting down from 100 to the bottom. So I'm counting down, right? So this is basically your normal reverse for loop. And in the reverse for loop, I'm checking if each and every number is divisible by 9. That means if I modulus 9 is 0. If it is 0, then I will print it. If not, I will not print it. As simple as that, right? So if I run this guy, then run a Java application. So you see, all these values are divisible by 9, from 100 to 0, right? So it's a reverse for loop, starting the for loop with 100 and then going down to 0, right? Assignment number 3, print multiple values of 4 using a while loop. Perfect. So you have a start number 4, you have an end number 100. Again, you're giving a range from 4 to 100 in whichever the number is multiple of 4, just try to print them. Okay. So what am I doing is I am just looping around the while loop, and I'm saying the start number is 4, and you're just simply adding the 4 with the start number, and obviously that will be the multiple of 4, right? So if I just print them, run as Java application. So you see, all these values are multiple of 4. From 4 to 100, all these values are multiple of 4, and that's the formula. I just simply added 4 with the 4. That's it. I kept on adding 4 with the 4. That's why you see 4 plus 4 8, 8 plus 4 12, 12 plus 4 16, and so on and so forth till 96. And that's what we got out of it. The next one is assignment number 4. It's what? Print 1 to 10 multiplication table. Okay. This is a challenging one because here we are talking about the concept of nested for loop. I am trying to run a for loop within another for loop, right? So it is a nested for loop. So what does it mean? It means that for each and every number, I want to multiply each and every number with 1 to 10, right? I want to multiply each and every number with 1 to 10. That's what I want to do, right? So I will have to first start with the initial number, which is 1, and then I will have to again start another loop inside the for loop, which will then iterate over that number 1, and will keep on printing till the number 10. So let me put this in the run and see what exactly happens. So run as Java application. So let's look at the, no, not this. This is assignment 4. No, here. Let's look at this table. It can be achieved using double for loop or a for each loop. Nested for loop. You see, for each and every number. So this is my first number. This is my primary number, 1. I want to print 1 with 1 to 10, right? So there is one loop that is covering the first number. So you see, this is 1 over here. This is 2 over here. This is 3 over here. And in the second loop, I'm actually multiplying it with the number of times it is. So 1 times 1 is 1, 1 times 2 is 2, 1 times 3 is 3. Similarly, this whole second loop will only be running for the number of times, and this is my primary number. 1 is my primary number. So primary number into the number of times can be done through the for loop within a for loop. And you see the first for loop is for the primary number. The primary number is number of times, correct? That's how I'm able to print my whole table. Okay, that's that. V4 1. What is this? It says compute the program which adds all given number. We just did that. So I'll not go over it. It's the same thing we did that a minute back. And then, okay, in the V4, we have spoken about classes. So you see, we are creating a school called whatever school class. I mean, the class is school. And then there are 3 attributes: student name, enrollment number, and school fee. There are 3 attributes to the school class. And then I am having a class called test school. So inside this, you see, I've created 3 different objects of the school class. If you can see here, there are 3 different classes I have created, or schools I have created. One is Oxford Public School. Another one is Delhi Public School. Another one is Laurel High Public School. So every one of them is having, I mean, there are 3 different schools I've created. And then inside that, I've given some student name, Lakshmi, enrollment number, school fee, so on and so forth. And I'm printing them. That's pretty much the same example I showed you for the car class, right? So that brings us to the end of the assignments. I want to know if you have any questions with assignments, guys. Any questions with assignments? Anything at all? Everybody got all of it? I'm expecting that now you will get some understanding that how these assignments are completed, or how do we do it. Give me a shout, please. Everybody okay with that? Yes, no? I hope there is no more questions, I mean, in terms of assignments. So then I will go to the next thing, which is a very, very good thing that you should learn, or you should understand how to tackle problems. So what do? I will go back to my program, which is this. We want to all solve this program together, and I want everybody to participate or interact with me while I'm solving this program. So can you see the program here? What I'm saying is, you are in charge of the cake of your niece's birthday and have decided the cake will have 1 candle for each year of her total age. Okay? So when she blows out the candles, she only be able to blow out the tallest ones. Your task is to find out how many candles she can successfully blow out. What does that mean? It means, for example, they have given an example. It says, for example, if your niece is turning 4 years old, the cake will have 4 candles. 4, 4, 1, 3. These are the candle lengths. So 4, 4, 1, 3. These are 4 candles. Each of them are having different lengths. So she will be able to blow out only 2 candles successfully. Why? Because there are 2 4 candles. That means they are having tallest length. In the 4 of them, they having the tallest length. So 4 and 4. So since the tallest candles are 4, then it can have the result as 2. So the idea is that I will give you an array of numbers. Okay. So 4, 4, 1, 3, I'm giving an array of numbers, and all you have to do is you have to tell me that only 2 of them can be blown because they have the tallest heights. So I want to know, what do you think should be the approach towards this particular problem? This is an array 4413. I mean, I can give you the sample input. You see 3213. Again, the result will be 2 because there are two 3s over here and here. How can I get to know that I have two values which are tallest or which are more amongst other values, and I have to print them? How can I do it? Anybody can give me any clue about it? Yes, no? What do you think should be the right approach here? Yeah, we can have to use a loop. It can be for each loop, obviously, but loop is not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a logic. I'm looking for some kind of a logic that you can tell me that will give me some understanding that how we can easily figure this out, that, you know, out of these 4 guys, 2 of them are having the most number or the biggest number, and that 2 of them is basically, you have to give the number, how many of them are having the highest number. That's what you have to give. And how can you do it? Try to find out how many of that number exists in the array. Okay. Max, if in math class will 10 words and it'll tell you one number with the other number, that's fine. But we have to kind of get into a solution where we can use all these concepts together, like arrays, like loops, like max in math, all of it, if else, and then create a solution out of it, right? So find out how many highest values of the candle height. That's true. That's right. True. How is the question. Find out how many highest value of the candle's height. That's what we want. We want to do it, but how do we do it is a question. So I've already solved this problem, and I want to go with it along with you. So let's look at the problem. So there's a method that I've created here called as birthday cake candles. In this birthday cake candles, I am getting a parameter as an array, int of array. Okay. In this, I have a temporary variable, which is int of t equals 0. I'm creating a variable called t. Okay. This t variable is the variable which will help me to keep a track of the tallest value or the highest value in the array. Okay, it will keep the track of which is highest. Okay, so then I have a counter called count1. Okay, this is a for loop that I have. In the for loop, I am counting from 0 to the array length, less than array length, I++, normal for loop. In this, I have these two if conditions, and this is the whole game. If you understand this if conditions, then you have already, mastered it. So let's look at this. What I'm saying if array of I, which means when the array will start. So at the very beginning, when the array will start, array of 0. So AR of 0. That means if the first value is tallest, is equals to 0, because I'm giving t equals 0. If array of 0, that means if the first value is equals to 0, then increment the count by 1, count plus plus. I'm also having another if block. In the if block, I'm saying if array of I is greater than t, then t equals to array of I. What does it mean? It means that the first element, if the first element is greater than the t value, which is obviously true for the first one, the first value will be obviously greater than 0. If it is true, then I am saying the t value is array of I. So I am simply replacing the value of t, which is 0, with the value which is coming out of the index. Everybody understanding this part? I am simply replacing, please focus on this. I want to replace the value of t with the array of I, but I want to only do that if I am sure that array of I is greater than t, and the t is having, then if it is true, then t is having the value array of I. Make sense? Give me a shout, yes or no. Does that make sense? All am I checking is if the tallest value is taller than the previous tallest value, then simply replace that value. Does that make sense, everybody? Okay. Shirley, you got it? Okay. Dan, you got it? Okay. So Jason, what I'm trying to do is, so I have 4 values here. So let's look at the values that I will be sending here. So 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, this is my 4 values which will go inside this. Okay, it can be 4 or more, whatever. So the point is that when the loop will start at the very beginning, look at the situation. I'm saying array of 0. If array of 0 is equals to 3, then count plus plus. Will this work in the first time? It will not, because array of 0 is 3 and 3 is not equals to 0. So this if block will not even work. That's fine. In the second block, what am I saying? I'm saying if array of I is greater than t, then t equals to array of I. What does it mean? It means that if array of 0, which is 3 is greater than t, so t is 3 now. So this is 3 now. In the first iteration, t is 3. So the value of t is now 3. Okay. Now again the if block starts. It says I'm not counting anymore. So it says if array of I, that means if array of 1 is t, if it is t, then count plus plus. This counter will just simply take or track the count of how many times this value 3 is appearing in this array. So if it is, again, if it is 3, then it will count. So in the second instance, it is not, because second instance is 1. So obviously this if block will not work, but this if block will work. So it will check if array of I is greater than 3. Is it? It's not, because 1 is not greater than 3. So nothing will happen here. So this whole thing will keep on executing until it will reach the last guy, which is 3. So now it will say, if array of I, which is for the last index, if array of I equals to 3, yes it is. So it will increment the count to 1 more. So that now the count will be 2. Okay. And is it greater than 2 t? It is not. So nothing will happen in this block. And the loop will finish because the length is exposed, or length is gone. I mean, we have traversed to the whole length. So we have to traverse 4 times. Already I have traversed 4 times, 3, 1, 2, 3. And then the counter will basically have the count of 2 times, because this condition will satisfy 2 times. And then I will simply go ahead and print the return. So if I just run this code now, run code. So you see, sample test, download, expected output. What did I do wrong here?
T is equal to 0. You replaced it as.
Oh, my bad. Yeah. So I'll just say run code. And you see, I got my sample test right. And just for sample test, after the sample test, you have to go ahead and you have to submit the code. When you submit the code, your code will be executed against hundreds of other codes or hundreds of other test inputs. So I say submit code, and you see that it is going to be executed against all 8 different types of inputs, and it should pass. So I really want you guys to look into HackerRank and go through all of this. So you see, test case number 1, it has a different array altogether. You see that? 18, 19, 90, 18, 90, 90. This is a different array altogether. This guy is having a different array altogether. So for everybody, for all the arrays, this logic should work. If it's working, only then you can say your solution is working properly. So go to HackerRank. I will just go over it one more time. So go to HackerRank and try and look for solutions that you can solve. HackerRank solutions are not very easy to understand always, but you have to start from somewhere. So you can just say, you can go to, there is an interview preparation kit, or you can go to the problem solving. You can go to, say, problem solving. And you see there are different stuffs here. So you see there is one solution which I did sometime back. It's really, really good, and I really want to do it with you next week. It's called Apple and Orange. I love the solution. Okay. What is the solution? What is the question? The question is simple. The question says that you have 2 trees, an apple tree and an orange tree, and this is your house. Zone is your house, right? So the wind is blowing, and the apple is going to get down, or it'll fall on the ground. So some of the times the apple will fall maybe a distance d, or sometime it will fall a little bit more than that, depending on how much the wind is blowing. So you have to basically check out of whatever apples, how many ever apples and oranges have fallen down reach your house. That's the problem. It's really, really amazing to understand how. So we will do it next week probably. It just requires arrays, normal arrays again. So you see, I will discuss this. I don't want to do it now. It will be confusing. But there are different solutions. There are different problems that will really make you think. And if you don't think, if you don't spend time, as I said, there is no way nobody can help you on this. So programming is about thinking, some alone time with your own thoughts, and then you solve it. Okay, probably you solve it partially, but yeah, that's fine. Thank you, Dan. I think that should be the end of the class. I'm just discussing about the topics that are going to be covered for this week. So just 1 minute. Where are my topics? Perfect. We actually covered 2.5 hours today. I'll try to keep it within 2 hours from next week. It can be done if you know, if I get some more confidence from you guys that you are kind of learning well. So I don't know, where is my week 1 summary class? I don't know why it's not opening. This is crazy. It's not opening. I don't know, guys, when it's opening. But anyways, I will probably send that information to you in a while. Or maybe I have opened it somewhere else. That's the reason why it's not opening. Just a minute. Yeah, here. Yeah, that's it. That's it here. So video 5, 6, 7. In this here, you see we will understand about creating class, details, scope, stack and heap, Selenium ID. I think I've actually gone through the class thing one more time in video 5. Video 6 talks about dev tools. Dev tools are basically the tools that are required for your automation testing. I'll talk about the dev tools, jar file, Selenium installation configuration, launching Chrome browser, and then in video 7 I'll talk about the dev tools performance testing. You know, how do you do the performance testing in the dev tools? I mean, these are different features that DevTools already is having. So you find elements, expecting elements, basic automation testing scenario. So this next week will be a little bit easier for you guys because I have covered a lot of it in today's class in video 5. Most of it is covered. In video 6 and video 7 is going to be a little bit easier for you to tackle. But go through it very well and solve the assignments. I don't think there will be too much of an assignment for next week, not much. But anyways, go through it and solve the assignments, and we will run the same cycle again next week. So that's it for today, guys. Thanks for joining the class, and I'm really happy that you guys are spending time. You're submitting assignments. Everybody, please submit assignments. It will be really, really helpful for us to understand your progress. And do you have any more questions for me before I can let you guys go? Any more questions? No? All right, guys. Thank you. Have a great weekend ahead and have a great week ahead. I'll see you next week, same time, in the same link. I will send the Google invite. Please accept the invite so that I will know that how many people are joining. So please accept the invites, okay? Thank you, guys. Have a great week ahead. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.